What's going on, guys? It's Adam P and welcome back to more Newcastle United transfer news. We have a world first exclusive, the first ever photograph or video taken of Malick Thiaw coming into Newcastle United is here on the channel. I've been at the training ground today and just to explain the situation with Thiaw's medical and what is going on with him. So he arrived at Newcastle around 10 p.m. last night. Of course, came across from Italy. He even conducted an interview with Sky Sports in Italy before he made the trip to Newcastle. He's saying how he's excited for the Premier League project of joining Newcastle. He's very pleased at his time at Milan. Described getting to the Champions League semi-final as being a big highlight for him. Looking forward to see what he can do. Now, of course, with him arriving at 10 p.m. last night, went straight to bed in his hotel room. Then he woke up, came here at around 9:30 in the morning. So he's arrived at the training ground now, currently undergoing his medical. He'll then do all the stadium stuff today. And I reckon he'll be on the training ground tomorrow with the first team. That's how quick this signing will be completed. I'm willing to bet he will be training with Eddie Howe directly tomorrow, if of course he completes his medical, which I'm sure he will. If you guys are new around here, make sure to get down there, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoy the content, and make sure to join the 40% who are already on the journey so you don't miss any upcoming content and then exclusive content like this as well. So let's show you the clips first and then we'll tell you a lot more about the sign afterwards.
He's got his family in the car. What is it?
There we have it. That is the sign of Malick Thiaw entering our training ground. And on a personal level, as a Newcastle fan, I always have that fear of signing a player until I see him with my own eyes, until I see him physically enter our training ground. You always have that doubt in the back of your mind. And I think that's that thing we've had on the mic last year, because we've had certainly some interesting transfer sagas. And I don't want to jinx this one, but the last time we've had a failed medical, I think Jordan Lukaku had a medical around 2019, didn't he? And he basically failed it and they sent him back home. So I don't want to jinx it today, but Newcastle have always had transfer sagas where even when a player has went into the training ground, still not 100% done. There's still a bit going on in the Mike Ashley years. Of course, now is a different story. The story we've heard all summer long is the story that players do not want to play for Newcastle United. Players do not want to sign for our football club. So when you have a player like Malick Thiaw who stated that I want to play for Newcastle United, it's exactly the sort of player you're looking for and exactly the sort of player Eddie Howe wants as well. And to be fair with Eddie Howe, to be fair with the takeover and all our backroom staff members, has Newcastle made a bad signing since the takeover? Now, take Vlachodimos out of it, by the way, because Vlachodimos was a PSR sign that prevented us from getting a points deduction. So when you take Vlachodimos out of it, who is Newcastle's worst signing since the takeover? I've seen some fans say Chris Wood, but Chris Wood at the time was a good sign for what he was. Kept Newcastle up, designed to screw Burnley over. Release clause done Burnley dirty, and that sent them down as well. So that was designed to make sure Newcastle wasn't one of the teams that went down that season. But even then, scored some important goals. After that, perhaps Matt Target, he had a good loan spell at Newcastle, but since we've signed him, hasn't really done anything for the £12 million he spent. But even then, option there on the bench, he's an option there in a worst case scenario. So what I see in him, a player there to be ready if we need him. Would I say that's a bad sign? Again, I wouldn't necessarily say it was. So when you look at our signings since the takeover, to be fair, have all been spot on. Every single signing's done a purpose, and every single sign has gave us value of being able to do something for us. Even Lloyd Kelly, I mean, loan signing came in, mental wages, and then you made a £20 million profit. And the guys are like, every single sign has just worked for what the club has attempted to do with him. So I've been happy with them. Malick Thiaw, I'm sure, is going to be good for Newcastle. I think especially when you look at our centre-half situation. Burn, Shaw, both in their 30s now. Love the pair with them, but got to be honest, with Champions League football, you're playing 3 times a week. They're not going to cut it 3 times a week. You've got to have depth there, and you've got to... I still feel like we might need 2 centre-halves, to be honest, but just at least getting one through the door. Botman's going to come back. Had even Lascelles as a 5th choice is not actually that bad. Even you got Kraft that can probably shift into a centre-half as well. So you have got depth there. You have got options there. It's just, how is Thiaw going to do in Newcastle? Because I'm still not too sure about the guy. I don't know an awful lot about him, so you have to see how he will do. In terms of what he's going to do next, course, you do his stadium stuff today. You'll do the entire thing today, and then you'll be at the training ground tomorrow. I think he's training tomorrow. That's how quick of a sign I think this is. He had to get him through the door nice and early because he's going to have some involvement against Villa. I think he'll be on the bench against Aston Villa. You've got a player at least there. Might get some game time, might not. I don't know. It depends how he does, but he will be in the Villa game in some capacity, and that is how quick we're going to get players in now. And speaking of signings, who is next? Now, I am going to have a second upload on the channel today going through more details of what's happening. But for now, just to briefly go through everything, Johan Wissa is nailed on. I stand by. Johan Wissa wants to join Newcastle. Newcastle only. We're just waiting for Brentford to get that player sorted out for us. They're basically in the same Isak situation as us, where they got a player that wants sell, but we need to buy players in. Exact same for them. They need to buy a player in, then they can let Wissa go, and then Wissa will come to Newcastle, and he's going to be great for us. And I'm looking forward as well, because his goal contributions and his pace is brilliant. You look at Langer, look at Gordon. I imagine Wissa on the front three with them. Oh my God. The back lines are going to be terrified next season. But of course, you do need to sign I wouldn't say a better striker, but certainly an up-and-coming striker, and someone that's going to be of an Isak level quality one day. You want someone alongside Wissa to come in. I've still seen a lot of Nicholas Jackson links now. Jackson doesn't make any sense to me. I still stand by it's Wissa or Jackson. It's not Wissa and Jackson because they're both playing the African Cup of Nations between Christmas time. Both missing up to potentially 10 games. Like, they're not going to do that. Has to be Wissa or Jackson. You're not signing both of them. No way Newcastle signs both of them. I don't understand the logic of that. I really don't. The Porto striker, obviously, is still the most linked player at the minute. Around £80 million, though. Would Newcastle be prepared to spend that kind of money on, again, a 21-year-old? So it's interesting. And it's interesting to swear because just explained the training ground today. So Eddie Howe is in there, of course, for the medical, but no players at all today. They're having the day off, with the exception of Alexander Isak. He will likely still come in by himself. He'll still do his bits of training by himself. And that's the story of the summer. We've mentioned this guy so many times. And unfortunately, as much as I'd love to move on, forget about him, that's not real life. He's still there. He is still our problem. And he's still a situation that is continuing to really damage Newcastle behind the scenes. Regardless of what happens next for him, it's a damaging one. It's not good at all. He will be in the training ground by himself today. And again, you just don't know what's going to happen to him next. So you need two strikers regardless. You also need a centre midfielder. So there are three signs you need to bring in over the next 3 weeks. And Newcastle's ownership doesn't tend to operate like this. They tend to bring players slowly, one at a time. But to get multiple deals effectively done at once, not a route we normally do in a summer transfer window. But of course, these are unorthodox times and times where Eddie Howe has had his back against the wall because he's been in a situation you can't control, and it's a situation that is untenable. I don't think Newcastle can survive with Isak. I think he has to go. I think you've got to cut him loose, and ideally not a Liverpool. So you've got to try and figure out to get him out somewhere who is not Liverpool. So we'll see what happens next game. For two strikers, centre midfielder, you need, in my opinion, before the end of the window, and maybe a second centre half as well. But I don't think we'll get the second centre half, to be honest. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, though. Let me know your opinions down below. Just wanted to briefly explain the situation, explain what's going on at the minute. Of course, we're going to head back home. Going to get through Newcastle United transfer news later. And I'm going to buy a selfie stick as well because I'm constantly holding my arm in some of these videos out and about. So I'm getting a selfie stick as well at some point today. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed watching. Let me know your opinions down below. What do you think about Malick Thiaw? £35 million, happy that valuation. And how do you think it's going to do in Newcastle United? I'm certainly intrigued because he's a player that I don't know an awful lot about. But he's one of ours now, so get behind him, support him, believe in him, and he's going to do well for us. So I can't wait to see him play. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you all in the next one.